Hello. It's done. I'm on my way. I'm so hungry.
We really enjoyed doing the shoot, planning for the shoot, the look of the shoot, everything about it. And we were able to do this is because Dehancer reached out to us to collaborate with them. This is not a sponsored video. They asked us to review their product in all honesty. And we wanted to take up on that offer because as we make our videos, what we also try to concentrate on is the look and the color grading of the video. We are still learning. We use Davinci Resolve for doing these videos, editing them and coloring them. And when Dehancer reached out, I myself was actually very excited because I've been learning color grading from other specialists and trying to understand and trying to kind of streamline the process so it's easier so that when we do videos, they look great, but they are also easy to or quicker to work on and output. Just going to state this is not our usual video. Our videos are very much about food, food culture, anything that's around that. We don't really do like any technical tutorials or anything like that. This is not a tutorial video. I can't really provide a tutorial on Davinci and the use of Dehancer, but I wanted to talk about how we found this program, this plugin, working with Davinci and how we were able to use it for this work, this particular video, and what we think of it. Overall, we found it quite easy to use, or me personally, I found it quite easy to use and be able to jump in. What I like about this plugin is that you pick a film stock, you pick an output print, but not all of the tabs are enabled. So you can enable as you go depending on what you need, which is great because as you can see here, there are actually a lot of options to work with. The other thing that both Rob and I liked is that, we both come from working with film. I did a lot of black and white work. Rob actually worked a lot with not just color film, but with positive, negatives, transparencies. That was his world in the commercial field before we both ended up going into the digital world. So for this video, we actually did some research trying to figure out how we wanted the images to look or the video to look, going from both black and white to color and back to black and white, and what was the feel we wanted to have. And if you look at our Milanote layout here, we actually picked some examples to see of what we were going towards. And then we also compared it to what Dehancer provides on their film stock list. We were impressed. We were very impressed and how easy it was to work with. Yes, you can do and convert videos to black and white in Davinci, of course, but the look of what we got out of Dehancer to me made me quite nostalgic because I remember looking at those movies. I grew up watching a lot of oldie movies and looking at photos, and it was like, this feels right. And we were quite impressed with that. What we are also impressed with is the film grain that Dehancer provides versus what you find in Davinci Resolve or any other plugin that you would get, or not plugin, but any other layout you would get to overlay on top of the video. The grain behaves as we feel as it should, where you see the grain show up in the highlights and midtones and not so much in the shadow. And the reason being is that when you process film, because there's more, what do you call it, silver on the negative? Where it gets darker.
Oh yeah, there's more.
Is it not silver?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is silver.
A denser layer of silver.
Because there's a denser layer of silver when you look at a negative, you will not really see grain around that when you process the film. And that was the same behavior that we saw using this plugin, which we really appreciated. There are some videos out there I watched when I was trying to look up what other people thought of Dehancer. And some people were saying that they liked the fact that when you work in Davinci, if you put in the Davinci's film damage or film noise, that it goes into a loop so that you can predict where that grain or that film damage will appear. I personally find that a little bit annoying. I want the randomness. I don't want to be able to see or be able to know how it's going to be. I appreciate there are some people who would like the repetitiveness of it, but when you're working with film, or if you have worked with film, you know that you can't quite predict how the film damage or the film grain is going to be, where it's going to lay. That's I think, the beauty of a film versus creating an environment where you set everything and you know what it's going to be. So we liked how the film grain looked in the shadow, in the highlights, in the midtones, or lack of in the shadows. Whenever you made a change somewhere, you would see the grain change. You would even see the film damage change. What we also liked on top of that is that you can customize even further per tab. So the actual setting that Dehancer's plugin provides are actually really good. If you want to just fine tune it further, or if you want to be able to play around with it further, you can. Some may find there are too many options, but for the price that you're paying, because it's not necessarily cheap, but it looks like it's a one-time pay, you want to be able to customize it, or at least have the option of being able to customize it. I personally liked that the plugin provides a section at the very top for you to be able to choose your camera and its log. We have two different cameras. We have Fuji X-T4s and Fuji H2S.
It's the XH2S.
So we have the Fuji X-T4s, two of them, and then we have the Fuji XH2S, and both of them work at different logs. The X-T4s work at F-log and the H2S work at F-log 2. And I need to have that flexibility of being able to change what log it's reading so it applies the look correctly and that they match across the timeline. In a portion of the video, we actually show a time lapse of the Clafouti or the Floniat collapsing after it's come out of the oven. It's supposed to collapse when it comes out of the oven, and that time lapse is all shot using a high-res JPEG. And what's great is that I was able to apply that particular film look of that film stock on the JPEGs as well, and still have it look the same across the timeline. All I did was make sure to leave the profile at Rec. 709. So far, we enjoyed working with the plugin for this particular video. I haven't actually created a node tree structure and tried to implement it with that. We didn't really have the chance to do it yet, but what I'm hoping as I keep working with it, I'll become more familiar with it. And I think what we'll do is we'll give a follow-up in about a year or so, or half a year, then maybe provide an even more in-depth review of what we think or what I think of Dehancer. I want to be able to have time to work with it more. So far, it sounds like we don't really have anything much negative to say, but well, so far, I mean, that's kind of my view on it. Rob, do you want to come in and give some of your thoughts as well? Because we sort of worked on it together for this video.
Sure. So, coming from a perspective of someone who spent a lot of years in dark rooms and sitting over trays, processing prints and stuff like that, you know, I have a really strong both nostalgic feel and sort of appreciation of film grain. And I found that over the years, as the manufacturers improved their films, they actually ruined the film grain. So, you know, they made it finer and smoother, and it's like, no, I want the grain.
While we were editing, Rob's like, add more grain.
You know, forget Super 70, go for 16 mil. And what I like about Dehancer is, first of all, it's a very intuitive interface, because Nadia was sort of, you know, pulling me in as she was editing and saying, well, what do you think about this? And I was able to very quickly look at the sliders and the drop-down menus and go, oh, well, rather than go with, say, 35 mil film, let's try 16, let's try 8. And we could immediately see results. Mm-hmm. And to me, having seen a lot of film over many years, the results look very natural. And I find that with a lot of, like, I've used the grain enhancement tool in Lightroom, and I've seen various Photoshop tools for putting film grain on, and they never seem to really capture the sort of random, slightly rough, slightly variable quality of actual film grain. And watching the footage going through Dehancer, it felt completely natural to me.
Yeah.
And it was very easy to sort of see what the sliders were doing and go, okay, well, that's nice. We can add a little bit more power there or a little bit less. It was very easy to adjust. And you could really see the difference between, you know, sliding this that way or a little bit less grain or whatever. It was very intuitive and interactive.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I like that whenever we made changes, you could see the grain, and if you use film damage, that all changes as well.
Yeah.
So it, you know, it adapted to whatever you were giving it, which is what we liked about it.
Yeah, and nice and simple. And I realize there's other ways you can do this, and you can layer in, you know, film grain from existing film stock and all this. But as a really simple, easy to learn, easy to understand application, I really was impressed.
Yeah, but you are actually going to be, okay, so the next video after this, Rob is actually going to be doing a tutorial using Dehancer you want to use it in Lightroom?
I'll use it in either Lightroom or Photoshop, because Dehancer is available for both video and stills.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit down with the stills version of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a tutorial on how to use it once I'm familiar with it, and I'll give you my feedback in another video.
Yeah. As for the video, again, this is not really a tutorial. There are tons of videos out there if you want to see them. We just want to give our feedback as people who have come and worked with film of what we really thought of it, and we were quite impressed.
And also, we're coming from a from a perspective of neither of us are professional film editors. We haven't been slaving away behind a video monitor for 25 years.
No.
We're relatively new to video.
Yeah.
And so something like Dehancer is a really nice way for us to add looks into the work that we're doing without having to delve into developing it all ourselves.
Yeah, and I know there's a long list of film stock, but we liked going through it. Eventually, we'll probably end up having favorites, but we liked seeing that, okay, you know, the Portra looks the way it should. The Ektachrome looks the way it should.
Yeah, it was
The double X, you know.
It was a nostalgic journey for me.
Yeah.
Lots of names I haven't looked at for a long, long time.
But it was like, you know, when I selected that film stock, you're like,
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's the way it should look.
Yeah.
So yeah, we enjoyed it. The price is pricey. Yes, it is. If you want to pay the full price, a one-time fee. It's not a subscription. But they also have options on the website if you want to do like a 6-month use or 1-year use, depending. Say you have a short-term project that you just want to use the Dehancer plugin on, you can do that as well. So we appreciate that flexibility on their website. And for us, because we were able to do a review, they said that we could offer you guys a 10% discount if you want to actually take a look at Dehancer and purchase it. The discount code will be down below, and you can check out their website using the link down below as well.
And I think the one-time purchase price is actually pretty reasonable for what it does and the level of sophistication that's available within the plugin.
Yeah.
Color us happy.
Or black and white.
Right.
Monochrome. Thanks, everyone. And next video will be Rob doing a tutorial on photographs.
Enjoy.
Bye.